it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here to celebrate Halloween, inspired by Books and Lala's 3 thriller reviews. I have read 3 thrillers this month. I don't read thrillers. I'm a romance reader. I rarely pick up thrillers. I think I read like 1 last year, but because of Spookathon, because everybody's reading them this month, I read some and I thought I would review them all for you in one video so you can see what I liked and what I didn't like as someone who doesn't read thrillers. I will preface and say I'm a scaredy cat. I don't do scary movies at all. I'm fine with like gore, like I'm fine with like bloody movies where like people die in like the Expendables kind of movies. I was raised on 80s action movies, so I am fine with that, but it's the like someone hiding in the basement and we're gonna go walk around the basement. Like I watched the new version of the one with Brittany Snow. What was it called? Was it Friday the 13th? I don't remember. Were they all at like prom and the one girl like decides to go in the basement alone and I'm like, you are stupid and you're freaking out. I can't do that. So I did read 3 thrillers. I was scared while I was reading them, but I'm gonna go ahead and review them for you. All 3 of these you've seen everywhere on BookTube and Bookstagram lately, and the first one is The Whisper Man by Alex North. This one I picked up because Riley from Riley Marie was reading it, and this is about a serial killer who lured young children out of their home by whispering their names to them. He's been caught, and now someone's doing it again, so we have a detective trying to find out. And we have a man who moves into the town where all these things are happening, and his young son is hearing the Whisper Man. So I can tell you there was one scene in here that was super creepy and freaked me the heck out, but I think that this was mostly kind of boring. Going into thrillers, since I don't read them that often, I want shock value and like, oh my god, I'm freaking out with every page. This one was pretty slow moving and I feel like the reveal at the end was normal. Like it made sense and I was like, oh okay, sure, that works. Oh, okay, yeah, that totally makes sense. Huh. And like I wasn't shocked at all. And I'm so confused about one thing of this. I can't say without spoiling it. I'm confused about one aspect, that the little boy had a friend, and I'm so confused about that a little bit, like kind of, I don't know. But I just wanted more action and more scare to this than it had, and some things were revealed that were very interesting near the end that I did enjoy, but as a thriller, like something that would really scare me, it was just okay. So I ended up giving this one a 3 out of 5 stars. The next one is one that I went in with super high expectations, and that is The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I know that Kayla from Books and Lala loved this. It's got a super high rating on Goodreads, and so this one people are saying is Ruth Ware's best. I have yet to read a Ruth Ware book, so that's why I decided to start with this one if it's her best. And it is about this woman who in the beginning is on trial for the murder of one of the little children she was hired to nanny, and she was hired to nanny at this smart house in Scotland. I'm obsessed with Scotland, so I was excited for that setting, even though we didn't really get a lot of that setting because they were pretty secluded in Scotland with like no one around them, and they shouldn't even like venture out of the house ever really. So this smart house like did freak me out because I was in my own home alone while I was reading this, and so like I had to turn the TV on while I was reading because I couldn't sit in the quiet and read this because like creepy things were happening, and she thought there was someone like above her room and there's no access point to above her room, so she's freaking out about that. Like all the electronics keep on turning on, turning off, being weird, and she knows that her employers can watch her pretty much any time. They can come over the speakers at any time and just start talking to her, and she's like, oh my god. So she's like, are they always watching me? And she's watching these 2 little girls and kind of this teenage girl that's away at boarding school who comes back. So this is told her writing letters to a lawyer so that she can have someone defend her because everyone thinks that she did it. And so it was creepy. I definitely did enjoy the creep factor, but there was no wow moment at the end. I feel like the ending, it was obvious the red herring. Like, you know, there's always that someone that's like, looks like they're obviously the person, and you're like, no, there's no way, that's too obvious. So the person they were trying to throw us off was too obvious. And then when the end happened, I was like, well, duh. Like, that's the only other thing that makes sense, and it was that thing. There were some secrets that certain people had that came to light that I had not expected at all, and that was pretty interesting. I did enjoy that, but I think that the final like whodunit thing was obvious, and I was just like, really? That's where we're going with this? Because that was the only other conclusion my mind had come to, and that's what it was. So I don't know how I felt about that. I ended up giving it 4 to 5 stars because of that ending. I didn't really enjoy that ending, but it was quite creepy, and I did appreciate how the story was paced and move along. It wasn't too slow for me. I will say my dad, he is a thriller fiend. He loves reading thrillers, but he's so hard to please. He needs something really fast paced and something that grabs his attention. He DNF'd this book because it was too slow for him. So this is kind of a slower but creepy enough. It was definitely faster than The Whisper Man. The Whisper Man was a pretty slow read. This one was a little bit faster, and I enjoyed that, and it did creep me out. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And our last book is my dad's favorite. That's why I read it. And it is No Exit by Taylor Adams. This book, holy moly. First of all, this isn't even the right book underneath it because my sister's currently reading it, so I just put the dust jacket on a different book because I told her she had to read it now. And this one is about a girl who's in college, and she gets a phone call saying, I think, or a text, whatever. She figures out that her mom is dying of cancer, and so she decides to hop in her car and drive to see her mom in the middle of a snowstorm. Well, roads get too bad, her wipers are not working anymore, and her car is crap, so she has to pull over at a rest stop where there are 4 people inside. And she passes by the car next to her and sees a little girl in a cage in the back of the car. Obviously, roads are closed, help's not coming for hours to help like get them out of the place, like the snow plows, and so she's trapped. This book literally takes place in one evening. It starts when she arrives and ends in the morning, and this is the fastest paced thriller I've ever read. Page 50, you are like, holy crap, what's going on? There was so much action in here, so many different things to throw you off, and so many secrets that were revealed, and you're just like freaking out. I buddy read this with Allie from Mrs. Dunn Reads, and I read ahead because I just couldn't put it down, and then she finished it the next day and was messaging me like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and it's just like, oh my god, every like 50 pages there was something to flip you out about the characters, about the situation, about something, the character deciding to do something, and it turned gory at the end, which I like visibly like flinched during these scenes, but it was so good. Like, I like a little gore in my thriller books. I know that's weird, but like, it's just like, oh my god, these people are crazy, and you just like really like it. That's how this book was. I am so excited. I heard this is gonna be a movie. I think it would be a fantastic movie. I give this 5 out of 5 stars. It is easily one of my most favorite thrillers I've ever read, and I need more like this. If you have recommendations like No Exit, please let me know. So good. I didn't see any of the ending coming at all, and there's a lot of action in here. There's heart-racing scenes where you're like, what's gonna happen? Like, are these characters gonna do what I think they're gonna do? And it's just crazy, crazy, crazy. Insane. I love the ending, and I'm so happy I read this because it was so good. Yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. And those are the 3 thrillers that I read this month. Let me know down below if you read them, what your thoughts were, and if you have any recommendations for me that you think I would love after hearing my preferences based on these 3. Let me know. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.